Hey everyone, welcome back to the Filmaholic channel. This is my One Tree Hill rewatch. A couple things I want to talk about real quick off the bat. Sorry that I haven't been getting these videos out like I want to. I want to get out like 3 videos a week, but everything's been a little hectic lately. We've been packing up, getting ready to move this upcoming week, so I'm getting them out when I can right now, and then hopefully I can get back to a consistent schedule for the last 2 seasons. Because especially, like I've told you guys, I wanted to do season 9 because I figured I'd be done filming all the season 8 stuff, and I'm not. So season 8 and season 9, as much as I can, I want to actually get out and go to One Tree Hill locations and film these episodes there, because that just adds to these videos to me. I think that'd be really cool. So hopefully I get to do that, starting probably with 801 maybe? I don't know, we'll see. Because right now, like, we are, watching wise, we've watched the first 5 episodes of season 8 so far, so we got a little bit to catch up on. But I'm not watching any more yet until I get caught up on all these videos, because I want to be able to, really ideally, this is what I wanted to begin with, was to watch an episode, do a video. But, you know, I didn't get to do that necessarily, but yeah, I'm excited to do these last 2 seasons, to be in Wilmington doing these, because yeah, guys, if you haven't noticed by now, I am moving to Wilmington for a year at least. Our plan was to move to California this year. We didn't get to do it. We are moving it to next year, so next year we're moving to California. Going to start pursuing my career in film, all of that. But for 1 more year, we're going to stay in North Carolina, and we're going to move to Wilmington. Wilmington's a place I've always wanted to live. I've loved Wilmington since I was a kid, going to filming and watching One Tree Hill, all of that. So I'm really excited to be around that for a year. We're actually going tomorrow to get the keys for the new apartment. Yeah, just really excited for that. But so that's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing is they're actually doing a One Tree Hill rewatch podcast. Yeah, so Bethany Joy Lenz, Sophia Bush, and Hillary Burton are actually coming together to do a podcast. So this reminds me, and I'm a little bit behind on it, and we're going to actually be doing an Office rewatch after I finish One Tree Hill. Me and Ethan are going to do that together, an Office rewatch. And Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey, they have a podcast where they do an episode for each episode of the show, and they talk about it, and it's really cool. I've listened to a lot of that, but I've stopped for a while because I'm going to wait until we do the Office rewatch to do that with each episode. So probably if I had known about this, I would have waited to do my One Tree Hill rewatch so that I could listen to their podcast while I was watching the episodes, so I could learn even more that I didn't know. But I don't know. We don't know the exact format. I'm assuming that it's going to be like that for their podcast, where they like watch an episode, do a video, or do a episode of their podcast, and back and forth. But it could be different. Maybe they'll do, like, you know, 1 a season or 2 a season or something. I don't know what they're doing yet, but I'm really excited to listen to it. They announced it this week. Joy mentioned it on her Instagram, and then she came on Hillary Burton and Jeffrey D. Morgan's show, and they talked about it. So super excited to watch that, and to learn some more stuff about One Tree Hill from some of my favorite celebrities. So that's really cool. But the episode that we're talking about today is 722. This is the season 7 finale. So we're there. This is a special episode for me. Not only is the episode just good and I like it, but this is another episode that I was there watching it be filmed, at least parts of it. When back in 2010, I was in 9th grade when this happened, and we went down there. And like season 6, I met a lot of people when they filmed this. Saw a lot of good, cool stuff. The episode's titled Almost Everything I Wish I'd Said the Last Time I Saw You. It originally aired May 17th, 2010. They filmed it in March. That's when I went down there to Wilmington. And it was written and directed by the show creator, Mark Schwann. So I'm going to be doing a separate video too after this one. It'll be coming out this week. I'm definitely going to get around to filming it, so it comes out this week. But I'm just going to be talking about my experience watching it be filmed, show you pictures of the cast that I met, some of the sets and stuff like that, like the outside, you know, places that they filmed. Obviously, I didn't get to take pictures inside Screen Gems, but I did go on a tour of Screen Gems during this time, and that was cool, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But the episode opens, you know, the last episode, Haley jumped in the pool, and that kind of ended with her jumping in the pool at the end of the episode, and what her fate was going to be. Obviously, she wasn't going to die, but what was going to be. This episode picks up where that one left off. She's in the pool, and she starts having all of these flashbacks of previous seasons with her and Nathan, right? Like, In the Mumford and Sons, we have one of their songs playing, which I'm a fan of them. Really nostalgic, good scene. I like that. And then Nathan jumps in and saves her, pulls her out of the water. And I think that was a really good way to kick off the episode, and everything that she's been going through, and Nathan helping her with that. And I feel like this, I can't remember if this was one of the seasons. A lot of seasons with One Tree Hill, they didn't know whether they're going to get picked up until after they'd filmed the finale. So I don't know at this point if they knew. I think this is one of the seasons they did not know whether or not they were going to be picked up for season 8. I think it was season 6 was one of the seasons they knew they were being picked up for season 7, which is weird because that season wraps up so perfectly that if you didn't have a season 7, you'd be okay with that being the series finale. This one, there's a lot of good stuff, like with Haley and Nathan and Brooke and Julian and stuff like that, that you'd be okay with if this was the end for them. But then you also have a huge cliffhanger at the end of the episode, which we'll talk about in a second. We open with that, and then we have little scenes picking up with different characters in Tree Hill before they go to Utah. Because all the characters, until like the last couple scenes, are in Utah for this episode. Julian's movie premiere, they're going for that. Park City, Utah, which is also where Sundance is. But I can't remember. They call it something else, the film festival that he's going to. This episode should be based in like October, early October, I think, technically. But yeah, so, and by the way, you know, obviously I didn't go to Utah when I watched the filming. They did go to Utah to film part of this episode. A lot of the I mean, obviously you can tell when you're watching some of it. The outdoor shots are filmed in Utah. The stuff with the cabin that they stay in, that's in Utah. But even some stuff that is supposed to be in Utah, but it's inside, it was filmed in Wilmington. Like Julian's movie premiere, the inside shots of that was at a Carmike, which is AMC Classic now, in Wilmington. Then I actually was outside there when they were filming this, and I got to meet Sophia Bush, Austin Nichols, Jamie, Jackson Brunage, a lot of people I got to meet that day. I also got to meet a lot of people when they filmed outside the nightclub scenes in this episode, which was filmed in downtown Wilmington. And we'll talk about that on a different video. But so we also have some of the, just running down some of the stuff that we have in this episode, and then I can kind of give my opinion on it. We have the Josh and Alex, their fake relationship going on in this episode. Remember, they had the sex tape come out, and Alex was like, it doesn't look as bad as if we're in a relationship. They try to go into that and make a good story out of that in this episode, with Josh and him being gay, and she's trying to convince him to come out, and he's talking about his parents and how they won't be acceptive of him, and there's some stuff that you could really go into that could be good and important storytelling wise, but I don't like his character. His character, he's an ass. I mean, the way he treated Alex and stuff, it's like, just because you have these things going on in your life, it doesn't make it okay for you to act like that. So he's already became a character that I don't care about and don't want to see continue. So I don't know. I wish they had done a storyline like this with a different character that we could really focus on, and that could have been an important story to tell in the show, and they didn't really do that. And once again, I've said, like, you know, I wish they kept Anna in the show longer. I feel like they could have done a lot with her character. They didn't. And by the end of the episode, Josh does say he's going to Colorado, which is where his parents are, and he's going to have a talk with them. So good for him. But, you know, at this point, like I said, I don't care too much about that character. And even in this episode, he, like, kind of throws Alex under the bus when they have, like, he has a moment where he could come out. And if he doesn't want to, that's fine. But instead of not coming out, he says that him and Alex are not really in a relationship, kind of just making her look further bad, I feel like. But Alex, her and Chase, because remember, Chase and Mia broke up. Mia's in this episode as well. She's helping Grubbs because Miranda's gone now. She's went back to London. And Mia's helping Grubbs finish his album at Red Bedroom Records, which is another, like, interesting thing to me, too. Because Mia, like, I like it and it works and everything, but I'm just curious because Mia is like an artist, right? Like, she's this big star at this point. Why is she helping run Red Bedroom? Like, Is that realistic? I don't know. But anyways, it works, and I like her and Grubbs, their scenes together, and then she ends up convincing him to start his tour in London, so that's what he's going to do. And that's another thing where I wish that in season 8 or even season 9, if it was even for one scene, that I wish we could have figured out, did Grubbs and Miranda end up together? Did he go to London to meet her? You know, what happened with that storyline? Because I like those two characters, and I wish we could have followed up on them. But Chase, he's went with the gang to Utah for some reason. Jamie's like, "Who are you?" That's pretty funny. But then him and Alex start flirting with each other and everything, and it leads to a relationship. At the end of the episode, he agrees to go out with her. And then in season 8, we're going to get a love triangle between him, Mia, and Alex, which I'm not really all about, because I mean, we just had a love triangle too in the season towards the end with Mouth, Skills, and Lauren. Do we need another one? Too many love triangles, in my opinion, and for characters that I like them, but with this storyline, I could care less, personally. But I know a lot of people did like it, so they accomplished that. But it just wasn't for me. And at this point, you know, the start of season 8, or at this point, and then in season 7, I was more of an Alex and Chase fan. Like, I thought that I wanted to see Alex with somebody and expand on her character. Mia broke up with Chase, and I wanted to see the Chase and Alex thing, and I did want to see that, and we know where that goes. If you know, obviously, I hope you've seen the show when we get to season 8 and 9, the end of season 8 and 9. But Chase becomes such a dick in season 8 that I don't think either one should have been with him, and we'll get to that. I think that's like by the mid-season finale or something like that of season 8 that that stuff happens, and we'll talk about it. But no, it goes past the mid-season finale because it's at the wedding and stuff too. Anyways, Skills, he has that coat that he got from LA, and that kind of becomes a funny thing throughout the episode with him wearing it, and then Mouth ends up with the coat, and we see him dancing in the club, which Lee Norris is such a great dancer. And then we see him passed out in the igloo later with Jamie poking him, thinking that's a bear. That was all hilarious. I liked that stuff. A lot of really good scenes in this episode of either being funny or just made you kind of feel good, of like the cast being together, being that family, having everyone together. That usually I like most of those episodes are good, just because it comes at a point where you have a lot of heavy stuff going on, and you finally get a moment where everybody comes together, especially characters that have been together for so long, like Skills and Mouth and Brooke and Haley and Nathan, all these characters coming together. I like to see that. And then it's an opportunity to bring the other new characters too, like Julian, Clay, Quinn, in with all these other characters, and have a good time. Like, I absolutely love the scenes with them tubing and sledding and stuff at the end of the episode. The montage of it starts, you know, with them doing it, and then goes in slow motion, and we do different shots, and we see like them falling off the tubes and stuff. I feel like this was like all like, it felt like they were just like giving them direction of a go have fun, and we're gonna film it. I don't know how it actually went, but I just love watching it. It makes me smile. And they have this amazing song playing over it too. I think it's called "Carry You Home," which is several different artists. I know. I feel like Michael Grubbs from Wakey Wakey was a part of that. And oh man, what is that? I'm forgetting of the other artist, but there were several in there that was really cool. And I think they made that for the show, for this episode, because once again, I think they thought this could be the end of the show, so they wanted something really special to play over it, the last little bit there, and I thought that was great. Here we go to Julian and Jamie. We do that relationship. We have, you know, because that carries over into season 8, Julian and Jamie's relationship, and which I really liked that a lot. That starts in this episode pretty much. You know, Julian doesn't want to watch the movie, so he waits outside, and Jamie isn't really supposed to see a lot of stuff in the movie because, you know, Nathan takes him out there to be with Julian at the beginning because he's like, "You man, you open the movie with a sex scene," but then Jamie runs back and forth and tells Julian what's happening, and then they end up, Julian gets a gold star from Jamie, that gold star that he had given his mom, which that comes up later when he has his scene with Brooke, Julian, which is very important scene. I love the way it was filmed. It's Brooke and Julian out in the snow going for a walk, and then he proposes to Brooke. And it's a moment that I feel like since they got together in season 6 at the end there, which I really like that scene too in the season 6 finale, we've been waiting for this moment. We've been waiting for them to get through their troubles and everything, and for them to get together and for them to get married. And this proposal was very satisfying. I liked that. And then we also have the scene too. You know, they've talked about Lydia's talked about, you know, she has some what her beliefs were and whatnot. She believed in reincarnation. Haley sees that owl in this episode and goes up and like touches it, and that was a very beautiful moment. And then she runs back, and I think that makes her feel a lot better. Before I get to that stuff, yeah, and then once again they have the scenes with them all hanging out. It was really great. Let's see if I'm trying to miss anything that I kind of want to save for the other video. I know we have the scene with Quinn getting locked out too of the place, and she has to walk down to talk or get the key from Clay. That inside scene was filmed at Mayfair. That was a little restaurant in Wilmington. I think that actual restaurant's gone now. I think it might be something else, probably a different one. But that inside shot and stuff was filmed there. But yeah, so then we get to the end of the episode. Like I said, Brooke and Julian have been proposed now. We see them. And I really like, especially if this had been the end of the series, with Brooke and Julian talking, she says, you know, you get a sense that they're going to live happily ever after. And I absolutely love that you had that in the episode, because that is what you get until the last scene with these two characters. But with everything else, you get that sense, if this was the end of the show, that they would live happily ever after. Brooke and Julian are engaged now, and then Haley, she comes to Nathan and lets him know that she's pregnant, and she thinks it's going to be a girl. Okay, they're having their other kid. That's great, really exciting. And then, of course, the end of the episode, the very end, is Clay and Quinn are in their beach house, and they kind of already set this up. I mean, obviously they've had Katie and stuff in the previous episodes, but they kind of set this up because at the beginning of the episode, when Clay and Quinn are laying in bed, we see behind them the glass opening door, and it's open, and the curtain's blowing, like wind's coming in. That's kind of setting this up for the end of the episode, which is when she's falling asleep. Quinn goes on up to bed. Clay's finishing his beer, and he hears a gunshot, and it's Katie. She shot Quinn, and then Clay runs in, and he gets shot too. And they're both, and then Katie leaves back out through that door, and they're both left unconscious on the floor of their bedroom, and that's how the episode ends, with this massive cliffhanger of two of our series regulars shot, their life hanging in the balance. Now, when we get to season 8, that stuff dealing with them is pretty unrealistic. And that's really not my problem with some of the stuff in season 8. That I like that storyline and the purgatory angle, or whatever they were in between angle that they were doing with Clay and Quinn. I actually like that story a lot, but the fact that they were left on the ground, you know, and we'll get to that next episode, for like 12 hours, it's pretty unrealistic. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. Leaves on this big cliffhanger, a really strong finale, and then we'll get into season 8 here in a bit. But the next video, I am going to be showing pictures and stuff of when I went and watched filming for this episode, and really talk about that. I'm excited to do that with you guys, share it, and then we'll go into season 8, and then to season 9. I'm really sad that we're getting through this rewatch so quickly. Sarah's almost done watching the show for the first time. I love season 9, so I'm excited for her to see that. But I'm just like, I want to spread it out as much as possible so that we're not done with it. But once we're done with it, we are going to do the Office rewatch, I believe, with Ethan, and do that, because The Office is my second favorite show. But nothing will ever be One Tree Hill to me. Alright guys, thanks for checking this video out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.